Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. Well, it seems like since Flash movie is getting closer and closer, the people behind the scenes are really scrambling to try to make sure this does well. I mean, they're coming out now and saying like, "Oh yeah, even despite all of his behavior in the past, we were never gonna like just shelve the movie like we did with other stuff. This was always gonna happen." And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this is such an expensive movie. In fact, one of the more expensive movies in the DC history, and the reported budget of this is around 220 million. So they really needed this one to work, and having their star be involved in so many controversial aspects that just turn people off is not really the best move. You even have the director coming out this last week saying like, "Oh yeah, even if there's a sequel, we're not going to recast him because we're behind Ezra Miller 100%." And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you have to say that. You can't come out and say we would have we would get rid of him if we can, but just bear with us for a minute. But I mean, even though that's kind of what they're doing, and if you look at the latest uh, trailers for this, it's almost like they're trying to, I'm not saying avoid showing him, but they're really trying to market it as like, hey, we got Batman in here. It's like, remember Batman? It's like, to me, that would be the biggest selling point because I grew up on the Michael Keaton Batman. To me, he's Batman, at least with the live action Batman. But with this movie, it really seems like they're just trying to say, we know Ezra Miller's in this, but just bear with us for the time being. And then once we get through with it, we can move on to the James Gunn universe and then just kind of forget about all of this. In fact, it's even alluded that here, according to Bounding into Comics, alleged the Flash post-credit scenes teases brand new Batman erasure that erases the Snyderverse, and it's what most people are speculating. They kind of had this one in the works for a while, and they just wanted to get it out there because they were already invested in it, and then once it's done, they can be done with it and move on to James Gunn's vision. Similar to what they did with Shazam 2. They didn't really know what they were doing with that. It was already in the pipeline, so they're like, well, let's just put it out there and see what happens. And the movie didn't do good. And I think they're kind of worried that the same thing's going to happen with this one too. So they need to make it work any way possible. And that's why they're kind of running defensive. And it just seems to go beyond the regular marketing that you would see studios do for new movies. That's why I'm saying it feels like they're scrambling instead of just promoting the movie like they normally would. This is really the end of Zack Snyder's DC vision. He had an idea, love it or hate it. I think he wasn't necessarily the greatest at it, but he definitely knew what he was doing, and they're really changing course with this one. And it obviously feels that, and I think most fans are starting to feel that too. And the studio's just hoping with enough distractions that takes away from their lead that they were kind of forced into bringing in, then they can hopefully recoup what they spent on it and then move on. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Thank you.